Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely. Won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely. Won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning and welcome to Storytime. Thank you for joining me today. Glad we're here together. And indeed, welcome wherever you're joining us from. I'm getting a nice good reflection today from my window. I hope that it passes soon, but welcome to Storytime and thank you for being here. As always, appreciate the time that we spend together. As you know, right now it is sunny out here in Oakland. It's not as warm, but absolutely sunny today, and we'll take it. And of course, enjoying this bright morning out here in Oakland. I hope that where you are is great too, nice and sunny, or indeed whatever weather you're having right now. I hope you have a way of enjoying it. If it's staying in and reading a book or whatever else that you are doing, absolutely wishing you the best. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime, and welcome. We do have one great book coming back to Storytime after a long time indeed, and this time we're reading If You Ever Come to Earth. And this one is coming to you from Sophie Blackalll, written and illustrated by Sophie Blackalll. Of course, Sophie Blackalll, also known for illustrating the Ivy and Bean book series. And of course, this one is coming to you from Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Good morning to you and welcome. Please let us know where you're joining in from and who is joining in with you. Yes, indeed, as we continue to read this week books that remind us of this beautiful planet that we have, what we can do to make it better, what we can do to make sure that everybody else that shares this planet with us, the animals, the insects, everybody else has a fair share. Thank you so much for joining in and welcome to Storytime. If you come to Earth, and this one coming to you from Sophie Blackalll. And of course, this is a question that always makes me think, what would I tell that being that would come to Earth and learn about this wonderful planet for the first time? What would I say my role has been? Thank you so much for joining in. Think about it too for yourself. What would you say? What would your role be? And so in this one, we will be following a boy called Quinn as he takes us through this journey of learning about this wonderful planet that we call home. Thank you so much for joining in and welcome. And of course, a big thank you to Chronicle Books for allowing us to read this wonderful book right here on Storytime this morning. Let us see who is with us and ready to enjoy a wonderful story indeed. Good morning to you. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining in. Yes, indeed. First through the door. How are you doing today? Baby Bia and of course Amanda. Thank you so much for joining us in sunny and chilly Seattle. Thank you so much for joining in. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Wonderful start indeed over here, Amanda. Thank you so much. And I hope that everybody too is having a wonderful day, just like you say. Thank you so much. And of course, sending you love and of course, wishing you a beautiful day yourself. Thank you so much for joining in. Amanda and Baby Bia out in sunny but chilly Seattle. And of course, Marlin, we send you love as well. Thank you so much for joining us on Storytime this morning. Glad you're here for the live. Thank you. Amanda West, how are you doing today with Sarah and Nathan? And it is a bright and blue Illinois. Appreciations to you. Thank you so much for joining us. It sounds lovely indeed. bright and sunny all over today. Thank you so much for joining in. Let's see what's happening in Natchitoches, Louisiana. How are you doing today? Good morning to you. It is sunny morning out there for Braylon, Chad, and Auntie Anne. Well, thank you so much for joining in. Pamela Courtney, sending you hugs indeed. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. Great that it is also sunny out in Natchitoches, Louisiana. Thank you so much for joining in. Love it, love it, love it. Good morning to you. And indeed, a great question, isn't it? Thank you so much, Pamela Courtney, and of course, Braylon, Chad, and Auntie Anne. Something to ponder over today. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning to you one more time. Thank you so much for joining in. Dr. Corb, how are you doing today? Love the shirt you say. Well, thank you so much indeed, indeed. And this shirt's coming to you from Change Cadet. And of course, like he usually says, you know, like the work is never done. Do the work, whether it's the work of environmental justice, whether it's the work of social justice, racial justice, everything never stops. Women's rights, do the work. We cannot sit back on our laurels. This work must continue, and we must continue to hold people accountable. We must continue to fight for what's right. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you, Dr. Cove. Absolutely appreciate you. And yes, indeed, get it today. That's the way to go. Thank you, Dr. Cove, and good morning to you indeed. Thank you for joining us out here in Oakland for Story Time. Good morning to you in rainy Vermont. You're the first rainy day today. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining in. Chris and Mitchell Adams, and of course, Bowden. Great to have you back here, buddy. Thank you so much. Back at preschool after spring break. Well, I hope you enjoy it, Bowden. I hope you enjoy spring break. You hope you enjoy being back at school. I know those first few days can be rough getting back, but I hope that you have a lovely time. And you know what? Story time will be here when you get back. Thank you so much for joining in. Yes, Change Cadet, Dr. Akila Cadet, an amazing work that she's doing. Thank you, thank you. Appreciations indeed. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you, Chrissy Mitchell Adams, and of course, an extension, Bowden. How are you doing, buddy? Sending you love, and hopefully see you back here on the live very, very soon. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning to you, Marietta, out in sunny Massachusetts. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, Henry, how are you doing as well? Thank you so much for joining in. Marietta, see you very shortly. Looking forward to meeting up. Thank you for being here. Wow, that time we've all been waiting for is here. Our story will begin shortly. And this one is called If You Come to Earth. And this one is written and illustrated by Sophie Blackall. And of course, we are reading this one with permission of the publishers, Chronicle Books of San Francisco. And as you know, too, Sophie Blackall is a two-time Caldecott Medal winner. And of course, known as well for the Ivy and Bean book series. So join me on the other side of this short break as we get to start reading our book. But for now, join me after this short break. We will be right back. Thank you for being here with us on Story Time.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda with Amanda Weltman Photography. I'm a photographer and printmaker based in the Pacific Northwest, and I believe that your face deserves wall space. Enjoy today's story time with my favorite storyteller, Mr. LaMotta.
Welcome back. Thank you, Amanda. Hopefully you're enjoying that sunny day out in Seattle. And of course, baby Bia, how are you doing today? All right. Yes, your face deserves war space, as Amanda says. And of course, you know, if you need your photography needs, you know who to get in touch with. All right, here we go. If You Come to Earth. This one by Sophie Blackall, written and illustrated by Sophie Blackall. And of course, we're reading it with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Here we go. And I'm sure from the many books that she's done, these illustrations will look familiar, even if you've not seen Sophie Blackall's work before. Absolutely stunning. If You Come to Earth by Sophie Blackall, and read with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Dear visitor from outer space, if you come to Earth, Here's what you need to know. As you're thinking about your own question, what would you want that visitor from outer space to know? What would you say your part has been? Let's follow Quinn and see what is said. Here's what you need to know. Oh my, I am curious. You can find us near a big sun and a tiny moon and a bunch of other planets. Ours is the greeny blue one. Can you see us? Oh yes, we are right there. Third from the sun. All right. The green and brown bits are land, and the blue stuff is water. Oh yes. The green and brown bits are land, and the blue stuff is water. People mostly live on the land in big cities, in small towns, and tiny villages. Or where else do people live? With people who live in big cities, small towns, tiny villages, or where else? Oh, well, just in the middle of nowhere. I always wonder that when I see houses like that and I'm out and, like maybe on a flight somewhere and you're flying over these mountains and you see this lawn house for like miles on end. Just wonder, where do they get their groceries? When do they go to the grocery store? What do they do for medical care? And everything else that, gets into my mind when I see that. Have you ever seen anything like that? Yeah. Or even just driving sometimes in remote places and you find this one place, like, how are you here? We live in all kinds of homes. Oh, yes. I live in an apartment building with 2 apartments. How about you? You live in a house in a bigger apartment building? Where do you live? And of course, like it says here, we lost our homes in a fire, in a flood, in a war. So many things happen. So many things happen. And we hope that everybody, we pray that everybody can have shelter. Yeah. In all kinds of families. Do you see your kind of family on here? Do you live alone? Do you live with others? And all kinds of families. Look at that. Oh, yes. We celebrate all kinds of families. There are more than 7 billion people on Earth. We all have bodies. But you know what? Everybody is different. Everybody is different. And I just had a conversation with somebody, I was listening to a conversation actually recently, and the person did say, you're a limited edition. And I loved that. You're a limited edition. You're special. You're unique. You're the only one we have. So shine on. You're a limited edition. There'll never be another you. I love that. Yes, indeed. Everybody is different. Well, except for my friends who are identical twins and look the same, except for Mustafa's mom. Do Do you have somebody that looks like you? But even then, from you to whoever it is, what is something that is different? Inside our heads, we are usually thinking. You can't see our thoughts. Thank goodness sometimes. But sometimes we show our feelings on our faces. Oh, we do indeed. Oh, so many different feelings. How are you feeling this morning? Which one of those faces is you today? I think I'm right here today. I'm feeling happy. It's bright out here in Oakland. I'm here with you all in story time. What more could I ask for? Oh, I hope you're able to pick your face today, how you're feeling. One that matches how your heart is feeling today. Oh, yes, indeed. Inside our heads, we are usually thinking. You can't see our thoughts, but sometimes we show our feelings on our faces. Oh, yes, we do. Oh, one more look at those faces. Which one is you today? Oh. Even if we don't feel like it, we get dressed every day. Oh, yes. We wear different clothes depending on what we do and where we live, and if it's hot or cold. So true. Even if we don't like it, we get dressed every day. Might have been a little bit different during the pandemic, wasn't it? Well, like during distance and online work and everything. That's what I mean. We're still living in a pandemic, people. Let's not forget. We wear different clothes depending on what we do and where we live, and if it's hot or cold. And if you're like here in Oakland today, it is bright out, but please remember to carry a jacket with you. Better to take off layers than needing them and not having any. Oh, yes. There's lots of different weather in the world. Oh, some of it's good and some of it's bad. Yeah, we have adverse weather, don't we? And know the effects that may bring. And with climate change now, even more important that we take care of this earth, because we've seen all the kinds of different weather at different times, unexpected times that things have happened. We have a role to play. Wherever people live, we usually have to go someplace else. There are lots of ways to get there. What's your favorite way to travel? Sometimes it's necessary to use one, a particular means of travel. But what's your favorite if you had a choice? Oh, yeah. Do you skateboard? Do you bike? Do you drive? What do you do? There are lots of ways to get there, wherever that other place is that we need to get to. Work, school, daycare. I am a kid, and kids go to school to learn stuff. So we'll know what to do when we're grown up. Oh, yes. You ready for school? Are you just getting back like Borden today? Grown-ups do lots of things to make the world work. Grown-ups do lots of things to make the world work. And I hope that every worker out there, those essential workers, get paid what they deserve. Hope they get paid a living wage. Yes. Grown-ups do lots of things to make the world work. But when people are not at work or at school or sick or asleep, we get to do whatever we want. What do you get to do? Do you go to the park? Do you play soccer? Oh, I play soccer. Do you read? Another favorite. Do you play board games maybe? Watch a movie? What do you do? Go to the beach? Oh, there's so much that we do, isn't it? You can go hiking. When people are not at work or at school or sick or asleep, we get to do whatever we want. And I hope that you have that opportunity to do whatever you want. I hope that there's a park near you that you can go to. We know that not every community is lucky to have those, isn't it? Whatever we're doing, we need to eat when we are hungry. Some of us have more food than others. We all need food and water to survive. Oh, yes, indeed. Although I do tell you, it feels like my fourth graders this year just need water every second, because every time it's like, can I go outside and have water? Can I go outside and have water? It's like, you just went. Some of us have more food than others. We all need food and water to survive. Oh, we do. Look at that spread. Oh, I think I woke up in the wrong place today. I should have woken up here with all this amazing food. We get water from the rain, which flows into little streams and big rivers and all the way to the sea. You can't drink the sea because it's too salty. Oh, yes. You can't drink the sea because it's too salty. And I know there's been talk of desalinating the water, but we know how there's been talk of how expensive that is, isn't it? Especially for places like California here, where we're in a drought right now. And if that were the cheaper solution, it would be nice. You can't drink the sea because it's too salty. The sea looks empty. What do you think? The sea looks empty. Oh, but actually it's full. Fish can swim, but they can't walk. That's something for you to know. We have lots and lots of different fish. Can you see them in there? Whoa. Which one's your favorite? Yes, the ocean, the sea looks empty, but it's actually full. Fish can swim, but they can't walk. Most animals can walk or swim or gallop or hop, but they can't fly. Most animals can walk or swim or gallop or hop, but they can't fly. Some birds can swim and walk and fly. So if I had to choose, I would be a bird. Some birds can swim and walk and fly. So if I had to choose, I would be a bird. Oh, some thoughts there for sure. If you were to be any other animal than human, what would you be? What would you choose to be? So, birds can sing, and so can whales. And people. Oh. People make all kinds of music on our own and all together. And talk of singing. Last Saturday, I went to see Angelique Kidjo from Benin. Oh my goodness. Legend. She is awesome. And it was just so wonderful to hear her sing. Birds can sing, so can whales. And people make all kinds of music on our own, or indeed all together. What's your favorite kind of music? Some of us who are deaf talk with our hands and faces. Some of us who are blind read with our fingers. Look at those signs. I wish I could speak American Sign Language or sign language in general. I want to learn. You know what? This is making me think again. Maybe I should take classes for it. Some of us who are blind read with our fingers. And thank you to the creation of Braille. You don't have to see to enjoy the stories too. If you're blind, we can imagine colors as shapes and sounds. If we are blind, we can imagine colors as shapes and sounds. These are the colors you need to paint everything in the world. What are they? Oh, the different colors you can use to paint different things. I think I love this one that says birthday cake. Yes. Some things are part of nature. Some things are made by people. Oh, yes, indeed. Some things are part of nature, while some things are made by people. Yes. Soccer ball, I see you. So many things I see. Oh. Some things are big. Well, some are small, tiny, itsy bitsy. Yes, some things are big, large, colossal. And some are small, tiny. Some things are invisible. Invisible cloak, ghosts, gravity, electricity, the smell of roast chicken, or the smell of old socks, frangipani, wet wool, sound waves, germs. Oh yes, please remember to wash your hands. Some things are invisible. Some germs can make you sick. Oh yes. So can eating a woolly milk cup toadstool. Breathing in smoke or getting spat on by a slaw loris. True. Sometimes people get hurt by accident. Yeah. Sometimes we hurt each other. And what can we do to make it better? To stop that hurt, to stop the hate. It's better when we help each other. Yes. It's better when we help each other. Babies are not very good at anything. Kids are good at lots of things. Grown-ups can do just about anything until they are really, really old. But by then, the babies are grown up and can help. And that is the hope. Babies are not very good at anything. Oh. Kids are good at lots of things. Grown-ups can do just about anything until they are really, really old. But by then, the babies are grown up and can help. Yay for community. Older people are good at telling stories about the world when they were young. Oh, so many to tell. Older people are good at telling stories about the world when they were young. Kids are good at making up stories that haven't happened yet. Oh, experience and imagination. Older people are good at telling stories about the world when they were young. Kids are good at making up stories that haven't happened yet. There are lots of things we don't know. We don't know where we were before we were born or where we go when we die. But right this minute, we are here together on this beautiful planet. I'll read that one more time. There are lots of things we don't know. We don't know where we were before we were born or where we go when we die. But right this minute, we are here together on this beautiful planet. If you come to Earth, you can stay in my room. Love, Quinn. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that tour, Quinn. Absolutely love it. Thank you for being here on Storytime with me. I hope you enjoyed that lovely story indeed. And yeah, just lots and lots to think about in that story. I appreciate it. And I hope that you appreciated it too. Lots to think about. As you can see from that, if you come to Earth, how did Quinn do? I thought it was a good tour of the Earth. Thank you so much for being here. I know you have comments. Let us see what people were sharing on that one, and of course, just so we can hear you before I forget and get into other things. Thank you so much for sharing, Amanda. You're saying I love traveling by ferry. It's so fun. It is fun indeed. It is fun. It's what's funny for me is that I like traveling on ferry. When I drive onto the ferry and then it takes you across, it just feels like I'm in a whole different dimension. It feels different from being there, just walking on. But I love it. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And if you're in Oakland here or you visit San Francisco and Oakland, please be sure to ride the ferry across the bay from Oakland to San Francisco, or indeed the other way around, and get to see the beauty as well there. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you. And of course, Beer and Marlin love to swim and play outdoors. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you for sharing indeed. Absolutely loving it. And Borden and Chrissy, you're learning American Sign Language. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. Try the app, Marley Signs. It's been great for me so far. Oh, thank you for that. Absolutely taking note of that. And I will be trying that myself. Thank you for sharing. And all the best. And hopefully, sounds like you're making progress, and I'm glad that you're finally getting to do it. Thank you so much for sharing. And Borden, so proud of you too. Thank you for sharing. Marley Signs. I will definitely be looking into that. Thank you so much. Henry has learned some in school and wants to continue. Thanks for the app rec. Absolutely, right? Thank you, Chrissy. Indeed. Thank you for recommending that. It is beautiful indeed. Thank you so much. This is such a lovely book. I agree with you. This is such a lovely book. Love the message and the illustrations. You know, Sophie Blackall, you know you're in for a treat. And of course, you can see from the landscapes too, and some of the things that she does, you can see that influence from her Australia. Thank you so much for joining in. Glad you are here. A lovely, lovely book indeed. I absolutely appreciate it. And Pamela Courtney said we enjoyed thoughts you shared with us. The best, Chad says his favorite page was the shooting star and the words on that page. Absolutely. I love that. I love it too. Thank you indeed. Let me see if I can get back to that one. And it does say, you know, there are lots of things we don't know. We don't know where we were before we were born or where we go when we die. But right this minute, we're here together on this beautiful planet. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much for joining in and sharing. And yes, Chad, you're in great company too. Marietta, love that one too. I absolutely love that page. And this book in general is it's just so wonderful. Thank you for joining in, and I hope you can find it where you find books, find it at your local library, and indeed get to have all these conversations. So many things to ponder in this book. And remembering too that we share this earth with so many others, so many other creatures. And it is, we know we have to take responsibility. We have to make sure that everybody has a fair share. Thank you so much for joining in. Absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for the app recommendation, Chrissy. Good to see everybody here on Storytime. Always a pleasure to be here. I would not ask for a better way to start the day than with this wonderful community, and indeed always just learning from you and also just being in community together. Absolutely appreciate it. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Please don't forget to join me for more story time tomorrow. And of course, you can join me for this book again at 11 a.m. Pacific time today if you have time or indeed want to see the read again. But of course, we'll be back tomorrow for The Hike. And this one coming to you from Alison Farrow. If you remember, she brought us the book that we read on Friday, which was Bicycle Bash. And so we're back this time, bringing back Alison Farrow with The Hike. This one has been on Storytime a while back, once before. So this is the second time around, and absolutely appreciate it. I hope that you have a wonderful day out in this beautiful earth that we share together. I hope that you have a wonderful time. And of course, we do not forget here on Storytime that there are many things that are happening in the world, many people that are struggling, many people that are not having the pay that they deserve, the life that they deserve, are able to have a home, shelter. So we hope that, you know, our leaders can be held accountable, that people can continue to work to make sure that we're providing those services for everybody, you know, healthcare and so many things that we could get into. But it is also nice to have this part of the world where sometimes we can just get in and read stories and indeed just encourage each other and laugh together, and also just wish each other a beautiful day. Thank you so much for being here on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you have a lovely, lovely day indeed. Enjoy it out there. I know it's sunny in most places today. I hope that, you know, where it's rainy, it gives you a little break so you can go out and take a walk and enjoy that fresh feeling from just after the rain. Thank you so much for being here on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. Hugs and love to each one of you. And please remember, like Dr. Akila Cadet says, do the work. The work never stops. We have to continue advocating. We have to continue speaking up, showing up, turning up, whatever we can do. Support all kinds of families. Support everybody. Let us show up. Racial justice, women's rights, equal pay, everything must happen. Thank you so much for joining in. And you know what? If we believe it can happen, we can make it happen. Let's continue to fight. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. Much love to all of you, and we'll see you again from the Storytime couch tomorrow from Oakland. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Stories with this great big smile. You won't live lonely. Won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some with people who look like me, others very different from the way that I look and think. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some stories from far away, others right here in my neighborhood. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some with people who look like me, others very different from the way that I look and think. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some stories from far away, others right here in my neighborhood. Story time. Ooh. Story time. Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh. He brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing.